Fight for 15 is a campaign to get a living wage law implemented, and they planned a one-day 270-city protest for today. That's a lot of cities, 270 cities. So this is one full year before the 2016 election, and it's backed by various labor unions. And the movement is trying to send a message that low-income voters can stand in solidarity, and they can organize, and they can fight for political change, and they can put pressure on politicians. In fact, Bernie Sanders is joining one of these protests, I believe in the Washington, D.C. area. And overall, I mean, I love this move. These guys are 100% right in what they're fighting for. So the protests have had the largest effect so far, because they've done some of these previously. They've had the largest effect in the biggest cities, like New York and Chicago. They'll protest, and sometimes they even need to shut down the restaurants temporarily, which has made it so that the brass at these companies has to come out, and they have to say something about it, and they have to acknowledge it, and you get the sense that it really is annoying them, which is the point, which is a good thing, because then they're more likely to get to the table and have a conversation, and maybe we can get some kind of deal worked out here. But obviously the end goal isn't just to put pressure on the people at the companies, it's also to put pressure on the politicians to say, you know, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to keep doing stuff like this unless you actually pay us a living wage, which is the most reasonable thing I've ever heard in my life. So I want to go ahead and give you some facts here to let you know how dire the situation really is, because oftentimes we overlook some of these silent heroes in the U.S. who work full-time and they don't make enough money to just pay their bills. I mean, think about that. That's a moral outrage. You work full-time, but your company doesn't pay you enough so that you can actually, you know, not worry about the lights going off or feeding your kid. And oftentimes people have no choice but to run to social safety net programs, that the government provides, just so that they can continue to live and scrape by as they rent themselves on the marketplace to their corporate overlords. It's a gross system, but here are some facts here. If the minimum wage had grown at the same rate as 1%er earnings, you know what it would be today? $22.62 per hour. So if minimum wage workers, if their wages grew just at the same rate as the top 1% and how much their wages have grown, isn't that amazing? $22.62 per hour. That's 212% higher than the current wage floor. Damn. If the minimum wage had kept pace with productivity gains, so this is a really interesting fact, because productivity gains means what? So what you're actually getting out of your work. And this is something, libertarians would often say, you can't raise the minimum wage because then you're paying people more than what they're worth. God damn it. Conservatives would say that, libertarians would say that. Well, no, the productivity gains. So if the minimum wage had kept pace with productivity gains, it would be $21.72 today. Oh, come on, man. So if these people, in many circumstances, were actually making what they're worth, $21.72. So if anything, they're undervalued on the marketplace. They're not overvalued, and if you raise the minimum wage, it's not going to be like you're paying them too much. They say if the minimum wage had been indexed to the Consumer Price Index since 1968, what would it be today? So in other words, if the minimum wage in today's dollars was simply equal to what it was in 1968, what would it be when you account for inflation? $10.40. So minimum wage workers are making less today than they made in 1968. Think about that. That's totally unacceptable. And finally, I'll leave you with this. 1 in 3 U.S. families are categorized as working poor. So yet again, people can work a full-time job, not make enough money to just pay the bills, and this is the system that we have. You can look at income inequality in the U.S., or you could look at income inequality worldwide, and it is a disgusting picture, and there's no logical argument for it to remain how it is. There just isn't. I'm not somebody who says, you got to pay everybody exactly the same for everything. Pay the CEO exactly the same as the janitor. No, don't be ridiculous. I don't say that. And to be honest, I don't know any other liberals who say that. But all we're asking for is a sane system where, for example, you don't have 6 people in the Walton family making more money than the bottom 40% of the country. That's insane. That's insane. You can still believe in people getting rich. You can still believe in having some kind of a meritocracy-based system, but be against that, which I am. And I'm also against having people work full-time and not being able to survive and pay the bills, and every rational person should be on that page, which is why I 100% support Fight for 15. And if they keep pressing, eventually we'll get some kind of a solution, and we'll get some kind of a minimum wage increase, and it's just a matter of getting to that point. The more pressure you apply, even if it feels like it's not working right now, they feel the pressure. So let's do this.